You know, trying to start a family can be this incredibly personal and honestly sometimes really frustrating journey for so many people. But what if a big piece of the puzzle isn't some complex medical issue? What if it's actually hiding in plain sight, in the little things we do every single day? Today, we're going to dig into the surprising male factors in fertility.
So you feel like you're doing everything by the book, right? You're healthy, you're trying, but it's just not happening. Maybe you've even been to the doctor, run all the tests, and everything comes back looking totally normal. It's confusing, and it leaves so many couples wondering, what are we missing?
Well, what if the answer isn't some big, complicated medical mystery? What if the clues are actually found in our daily habits? Today, we're going to shift the focus over to the male side of the equation and uncover some really common, everyday routines that could be making a huge difference.
All right, so here's what we're going to cover. First, we'll get into the fascinating science of sperm. Then, we're going to expose some hidden dangers, especially from heat and a few other modern lifestyle traps. And most importantly, we'll lay out a clear path to getting things back on track. Let's jump in.
Okay, let's dive right in. Before we talk about habits, we got to understand a little bit of the basic biology here. It's actually pretty cool.
Have you ever really thought about why the testes are located outside the body, unlike pretty much every other organ? Well, there's a super important reason for that. They have to stay cool. Think of them like a highly sensitive production facility that just can't afford to overheat. This isn't some random biological quirk, it's absolutely essential for producing healthy sperm.
And just how much cooler are we talking about? It all comes down to this one tiny number, 1 degree Celsius. That's it, just 1 degree cooler than the rest of the body. That's the delicate balance we're working with. And when that tiny 1 degree buffer disappears, the whole production line can start to have problems, affecting both how many sperm are made and how well they work.
So, if keeping things cool is so critical, what are we doing in our day-to-day lives that might be messing with that balance? Let's look at some surprisingly common habits that are secretly turning up the heat. We're going to break down 4 everyday things that are notorious for raising that temperature. And I bet a few of these are going to be pretty surprising. First up, something that feels amazing. A long hot soak in a bath or a hot tub. I mean, who doesn't love that? But for sperm production, it's kind of like being in a slow cooker. Regularly soaking in that kind of heat can temporarily, but significantly, drop your sperm count.
Next, the classic modern work-from-home pose, the laptop on the lap. Super convenient, right? But that machine is basically a portable space heater. All the heat from the battery and the processor, it's going directly into your lap, creating that exact warm environment you're supposed to avoid.
And hey, even your clothes can make a difference. Those super tight, skinny fit jeans, they might look good, but they pretty much eliminate any kind of airflow down there. They just trap heat and moisture, creating a little personal heat wave right where you really want things to be cool and breezy. Okay, but what if you can't just avoid the heat because it's your job? Think about chefs, bakers, factory workers, anyone in a constantly hot environment. Obviously, you can't just quit. The key here is all about managing it. Simply taking regular breaks in a cooler space can be a total game changer, giving your body the chance it needs to cool down and reset. All right, so we've talked a lot about heat, and it's a huge deal, but it's not the only thing going on. Let's switch gears and look at a couple of other modern lifestyle traps that can come into play. Think about it. Where do you keep your phone? For most guys, right, it's that front pocket. Now, the research here is still developing, but some studies are suggesting that long-term, close-range exposure to the radiation our phones give off might have a negative effect on sperm quality over time. Okay, we need to talk about something really important now. It involves a choice that some men make to get faster results at the gym, but it can come with a pretty devastating and often hidden cost. This quote just hits the nail on the head. Here's what happens. When you inject synthetic testosterone, you're basically sending a signal to your body to shut down its own natural production. Your body thinks, oh, we've got plenty, and just stops making it. The result? The sperm factories can literally close down, and sperm count can plummet, sometimes even to 0. It's a massive trade-off that a lot of guys just don't know about. And finally, let's touch on 2 things many of us enjoy: coffee and alcohol. Look, having a cup of coffee in the morning or a beer with friends isn't the problem. We're talking about going overboard here. Studies have shown a link between a really high intake of both caffeine and alcohol and a negative impact on sperm health. So like with most things, moderation is absolutely key. So, after all that, you might be thinking, wow, that's a lot to worry about. But here's the really good news. The solution isn't some massive life overhaul. The biggest impact often comes from making a few small, simple changes. So let's break it down into a simple action plan. This is all conscious, manageable stuff. Maybe swap that hot bath for a shower more often. Put a pillow or a desk between you and your laptop. Opt for looser clothes. Move your phone to your back pocket or a jacket.
Any one of these things on its own might seem tiny, but when you add them all up, the combined effect can be huge.
And really, that's what this all boils down to. Your health and your future are often shaped by dozens of little choices you make every single day. The power here is that now you know about these hidden habits, you can start making different choices. Thanks for tuning in.